If you got children who is older, right? Parents are children, and if the wife saving blood transfusion, like what time frame do you have for like
Well,
Mike, Mike.
I mean, it's a great question. If you got to make a split decision, you know, the kid's going to bleed out right now before your eyes, you transfuse. And you deal with the fallout later. So sometimes you got to make the hard decision. Yeah. You just get somebody, you get whoever your support people are around you, and it is, you know, you just can't let the kid die. And I don't think I'm just being, you know, this soft. Kids love to be under people's hype. And I'm sure this isn't the first time such a thing happened. There's probably a case for it. And but just like if you found a kid on the side of the road bleeding out, you wouldn't say religious background of the parents are. Emergency situation is a medical provider extra right. You can move without consent. We're going to talk about that. I know I would not want to be in that situation just because stuff happens. Okay. Yeah, if you have the money, you want to do it, you want to cross all the T's and dot all the I's, and you want to call the judge, if you don't want to do it. Give me a point. Well, and I understand what you're saying. Let's say a kid has hemophilia, and somatic pressure dropping, and you're worried that it's going to get to a point where you're going to have to take a leave. Right now you're good, and you might be great. The spirits could start going up. Out of respect for the parent's religious belief, you wait it out as long as you can. You want them to be able to really determine that this child is not going to get transfusion because it's going to make them into never getting to have enough, you know, whatever their belief is. Yeah, if you can transfuse at hemoglobin of 8, but the kid's not going to die if you don't. H&H tonight, because again in the morning, and I start to take a little bit turn upward. Oh, the kid's not dying right in front of your eyes. I say respect the parents for as long as you can, and let them know. You know, yeah, I understand. You don't want to transfuse. You're going to hold out. You're going to do this the way you want, as long as you possibly can. And if you get to the point where you're going to die without, this is how we're going to have to do it. And what I've heard and learned and read previously, parents don't feel so terrible about you deciding or the judge deciding that you got to have that transfusion. Sometimes they kind of relieve you. This is what it is, and I didn't say it. I know that. I said, no, I'm not going to sign that thing. And so, you know, it could be, you never know, there's that place in them that says, oh, I don't really want to do this here, but I can't, out of honor to my God, make this decision, and there's no kind of move that somebody else. We're going to talk about, again, we said that there was some little scenarios, some fact patterns that even a child who is not even close to 18 will be given. That could be one of the categories that she was following. Okay. We good? So I'll just say, another couple of sentences about Hammurabi and almost 1800 BC. This guy was a Babylonian king, and he worshipped the pagan god Marduk. And he said that he got this revelation of these rules, and they're etched in some giant rock. And it was really the first establishment of a rule of law known to the earliest one known to humanity. So he didn't say that I'm just smart like that. He gave his credit to whoever this God was and established it as the rule that they're and other civilizations, grew from it and took the things from it, and when you got something that has some value, and other people see the value in it, they will borrow tenets from that to their own society. So basically, that's the short story about okay. Best interest of the child. Kids are a little bit different again, because when you're making a decision about somebody who's 6 years old, that decision could impact them when they're 16 years old. So you have to think of not just getting them through whatever the problem of the moment, of the question of the moment is. You must also look to long-term goals. A little kind of interesting quiz. You must consider the specific values of the parents, cultural and social groups that this child is coming out of. So that's why you should learn about cultural diversity. Because you could make, just kind of tweak the usual way, the comfortable way of practice, and make it specific to a culture, a social group that you're dealing with, and make the experience so much less stressful for the patient, for the parents, for the family, and the social group that you're going to be doing that too. So it's non-business. Okay. Roosevelt realizing her police potential. Again, that's kind of leads to the first bullet point there. And you, as the provider of the child health care, should see yourself as an advocate for the child, not in a paternalistic way, but again, this child is basically worthless. That's just like pre-verbal. They can't even make a his life suggestion that no, I don't want that shot. So you have to be sort of standing in the gap for the kid whose parents may be saying some things that you don't quite understand, or it's not logical to you, or in your mind it's a harm for the child. You can't be silent. You have to use what you know, bring in support to be sure that the kids don't get we're just kind of talking about this in terms of the question of the equipment. And kids become more autonomous as they mature. So they'll be more involved in their medical decision making as they become more mature. A non-18-year-old teenager is more autonomous than a non-18-year-old toddler. So you have to recognize that they should be looked upon as more autonomous, and there's not something magical that happens to them at their 18th birthday. Although in my experience, my son thought something magical happened to him when his 18th birthday came. I'm a man now. Silly is the word yesterday. The American Academy of Pediatrics back in 1995 came up with this concept, or endorsed the concept of being active. So, in pediatric practice, you always have to understand, basic principles and stuff like that, and recognize that it's not perfect because the treatment is not included in that place. Not fully in the equation. You need parental information. They provide the signature that you consent, but then you have this thing called pediatric access. And this is taken from the Journal of Pediatric Services for Peers, where the Academy said that kids should be allowed to participate in decision-making commensurate with their development. Pressure on continuing to improve. And they should be asked to assent, active to the care that they're about to receive whenever treated. So that kids should not be excluded from the process. And the older they get, should be not excluded, but intentionally included, unless you have to go to time. So this is what this whole idea of access is about. You have a kid who has signs and symptoms of hot appendix. You know that you got to get it out. You don't just sign the papers and lose them away and put a mask on the paper. What this concept says, you need to try to achieve in that child awareness of what's going on. Tell them that there's something, you got a cold, whatever works in their language inside, and it's very hot, and that's why it's hurting you so bad. And we gotta open it up, we gotta make a little hole, and we gotta take it out. But first, and it won't hurt because you'll be soothed. You know, so you have to just go through whatever's developmentally appropriate for them, so that they are aware of what's going on and have an idea about what's going to happen and what's going to happen when they wake up and what they're going to see when they wake up. And you're not going to be able to eat food when you first wake up, or soon you're going to be able to drink. You know, give them to a developmentally appropriate awareness of what happens, what's going to happen, and what their expectations will be. As you're doing this, just like when you're dealing with an adult, because you're using different language, different posture, different dolls, and whatever you have available, you draw things for them, crayons, or what's going to happen, and you evaluate them for how much understanding is going on. You ask them to explain it to you. You know what I mean? So what are we going to do? So when you wake up, then what's going to happen? And then you try to solicit from the patient a hint. And they are going to get them to the place where you want to feel better, right? So, try to get them to have a place, a participation in what's about to happen. You should wait to hear response. Serious. You should give them an opportunity to make some decisions. Okay, we got to put this IV in because you can't drink, so you got to put your drink in your arm, and then we're going to put a cord on it and some tape. Now, which hand do you want it in? Give them something that they can decide. You want to sit down and do it? You want mommy to hold you? You want to lay down? Give them some way to interact, so it's not just doing stuff to me, and I don't understand, and I'm more and more scared all the time. I don't know these people. I don't know what they're doing to me, and I have no idea why they're doing this to me. And so this is just some of my ideas about how they can actually interact with the process. If the patient is going to be treated over his or her objection, tell them. So if they say, nope, I want my cocoa, I don't want you to take it out, no, I do not want to go to sleep. If they say no to everything, does that mean you're not going to do a appendectomy? No. No. But, you got to let them know that we have to get it out because we don't want you to be sick. So they don't just all of a sudden, raise up and but I told you not to do it, and you said you weren't going to do it, and you did, let them know that we're not here to trick you or to deceive you. And again, that happens on a continuum. The more they're able, the more mature they are developmentally to receive more information and make more of the decisions you should allow for that. We said that typically parents are in the number one spot of making the decisions that kids don't have. But they're always the same. Sometimes parents just say, no, I don't want, let somebody else make the decision. My mom is right over there. Let her do everything. Because I just don't know. I just love it. Somebody who is a substance abuser, they have mental disabilities, they're into themselves, they might be incapable of their child of making a decision. someone who's obvious that you can, have step into a grandparent or father or, whatever to make the decision. You need somebody to make the decision, except in that red thing, emergencies. Emergencies, you can't stand around waiting for stuff to happen. You gotta snatch the kid from the dog to death and you deal with it later. If you have time, you can call a court-appointed guardian and they do all the things for the child. Then we have this thing about being medicine emancipated. And some adolescents are medicine emancipated, so they can actually make their own healthcare decisions outside of the opinions of or even the presence of their parents. Kids can, and there's some medically emancipated diagnoses. And these diagnoses differ from state to state, including in law, that says, a adolescent can seek medical attention for diagnoses related to sexually transmitted disease or diagnosis of pregnancy or mental support because of a food. This depends on the state, what's on this list. And these diagnoses, if the child comes in with different concerns, they don't need a parent to accompany them or to whatever it is they're coming for. That's sticky because typically kids don't have a bank account that they can just write the check. Somebody's got to pay for their care. If they go to a food clinic, then that's not so sticky. But if they are consumers, they got their little card in their hands, they go in and it's a medically emancipated diagnosis. They don't have any money in their pocket. They got their family's insurance card. Mom and dad are going to find out sometime because the EOB is going to come in the mail and they're going to say, oh, this child was sitting on this day by this medical provider who is a whatever. And we don't know anything about it. So there are situations where the kid can get outed. You didn't have to call the parents, so you have to think ahead. Now you have to tell the kid because they don't know. All they know is they don't have to pay for it, and so they can get into the clinic, especially if they go to their pediatrician who they've been going to forever and ever and ever and ever. They already have all the medical information and the billing information in the patient record. So you have to think ahead and think ahead for the kid, so that if you will, maybe you fulfill. But if you do, that the kid needs to know that you can just go buy you some time, but 4 weeks or so, something's going to come in the mail and your parents are going to know. Should we just deal with this now? You want me to call them up? I'll talk. I'll do the talk. I'll be the bad guy. So you have to, again, you're in the position of advocate, and you need to be willing to do what needs to be done, whatever's in the best interest of that person at the time. Yes.
You answered it. Oh.
Okay. Legal emancipation. If you're in a state where age of majority is 20 or 21, but you join the Navy when you're 18, you're legally emancipated. You no longer need your parents to sign the consent form for you to get an affidavit. Marriage, if you're married, you are legally emancipated. If you're 16 and you get married to your boyfriend who's 18, you magically become capable legally to make all your medical decisions about your financial independence. Now that's an interesting. That's what all the kids stars, they try to divorce us, and they say, I don't depend on my parents for anything, so why should I have to call them in to make my medical decisions? I have my own house, I have my own car, and there is a way that you can't just say it and it's done. You have to get it established in the court that they are independent of their parents. Florida is right. Let me go ahead and walk what Florida has in terms of medical decisions. Florida says that if you are a child who has a child, so you're just 12, 13, you have a baby, and the baby gets sick, and you take the baby into the emergency room for care. Florida says that you, as a 12 or 13-year-old, can make any and all medical decisions for that child. The strange part about Florida law is that you're 12 or 13 making life or death decisions for the baby. But if you need an appendectomy, your parents got to come sign for it. So it's difficult and it's so crazy. You would think that, someone would get it. This just doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. So we talked about the red letters of we talked about what if this kid is bleeding out and your job in the moment is not to care for his religious conviction. In the moment, your job, your duty, is to render emergency care. So this will say that the applicant for any kind of care, appropriate medical care for the patient with an emergent condition should never be withheld or delayed because of problems obtaining consent. So this is a document in the medical record that whatever they tried to do to obtain consent. The kid came in, the teacher brought him in from the playground, and he got an open skull fracture, and you tried to call the parents, and nobody can make contact with parents. You don't sit there in the emergency room waiting for do. Maybe the parents are going to tell them, no, you do what you need to do in emergency. You don't do anything else. Anything that's not a part of the emergency treatment of that child, you wait until you can get consent for it. You're covered for the things that need emergency treatment. You can't just say, well, I got automatic consent because this is an emergency because his head is broken open. But while I'm at it, I think I'll also go ahead and do X, Y, and Z because I see something comes up. Like I said, I just had a deal in his abdomen. Well, we're here and he was asleep because of that. Why not just take out this real mat? No, that's not a part of the emergency. You take care of covered with emergency, everything else, just put on the back burner. Other things that you know you're going to need to do anyway, or in addition, that they're not a part of this emergency treatment. You have to save it. You have to put it on the back burner so you get in a position where everybody's breathing and listening, and now you guys as emergency providers. The second bullet point is interesting. A lot of times the people who come into the emergency room can't participate in medical decisions that have to be made that's in their best interest. So that puts the healthcare provider kind of, in this prepared response. But again, you move on things that are emergent. Wait for them to become more lucid. Wait, all the people who are on their emergency bracelet, for everything else. Problem, a very risky problem of those who choose to work in the emergency room is that they typically have no prior relationship with the patients that they're treating. No established trust, no established knowledge. Now, so what? What's the big deal about that? What do you think the big deal about that is? Why is the bullet point called typically no prior relationship with patients? Huh? They're going to show you. Huh? I don't know.
They don't have any knowledge of your culture, belief, background, so they can't necessarily alter their care to meet your cultural difference if they don't know.
Yeah. They don't know what the patient would want. Even if they're talking to them, if you say this is a patient who's not knocked out, but the only thing about this patient is that they don't know them, and you don't know them. Why is that a particular risk? I think we come up with some good ones. And the one to remember for you is that for your own safety, is that when people don't know you, when they don't have an idea that you really care for them, that you really do have their best interests at heart, that you're not just somebody who just happened to be on your ship when they got there. You are at high risk. So one of the things I teach you guys as we get more into the clinical part of pediatrics, and for you to take beyond pediatrics to any kind of patient, is you might have 5 minutes to get to a patient in the emergency room. In that 5 minutes, sit down. Go in and get yourself a little stool and sit down and talk to the patient. Look at the patient. Establish eye contact with the patient. If you come into flip back the curtain and say, yeah, what do you need? I see that you got a sore throat. Nurse, could you do a throat culture here? Give them this. If something goes wrong with that patient, they will feel no pain chewing your butt. They'll be happy to chew you. But if you came in, you pulled up a chair next to them, and you had a 5-minute conversation with them. You gave them some advice about how to get through this, and make sure you take all your antibiotics. And it's important that you drink. And whatever it is, use those 5 minutes to connect with the person. It's the right thing to do anyway. But it also protects your butt. You give them the feeling that, patient today, but he cared about me in that moment. And you tell them where to get established, you go to for a follow-up, and if you don't have someplace to get followed up, just come back here and tell them I told you to come, whatever it is. Having no relationship, no trust, no knowledge of a provider makes it easy to already in, you know, it, let's just say, let me put it around. A patient who you know, who's been established in your practice, you've been through lots of stuff with this family member and that family member, and you make a mistake. You flat out make a mistake. Okay? They didn't die, but it's obvious that what you did, you should have done something else. And you even told them, oh man, if we would have done this instead of that, you know, I had you back and forth a couple of days. You know, whatever it was. You made a mistake. They know you made a mistake. They're not going to sue you. They're not going to sue you. Because of an established relationship. They will allow for you to not be perfect. They will allow for you to make a mistake. Just because of relationship. They know that your intention for them is good. Even though, you know, we all don't have bliss. None of us are perfect. None of us are going to make the perfect decision every time. It doesn't happen. When I was in practice in El Paso, I was on staff at the 5 community hospitals. Two of the hospitals required that you take ER calls. They allow me to say, you got ER calls this night and this night. Anybody comes in with a any no doctor patient, you need the doctor, that's your night. So it was my night. And I got a call from the neonatal intensive care unit saying we just had a baby term born with meconium and giving them some oxygen. And this baby is a no doctor patient if you're on call. And the baby's doing something weird with her. Something's not right. Something's not right with something, some odd movement. I'm wondering if it's seizures. Okay. And call me back. Okay. It always happens at 2 o'clock in the morning. When you got little kids in their rooms and some of these things are going to come up. So I get a call back 20 minutes later. The hand is continuing to do it and the face is twitching. Okay? This baby, blah, 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 and I'm on my way. I give it to the ICU. Look the baby up. The baby will be already got the already given value, already got him onto the antibiotics. All that stuff is done. Everything you're supposed to do is done. I do the lumbar puncture. Tell the nurse to do the lumbar puncture. So I have the baby, get the baby on antibiotics. Blah 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 blah. You do that baby tucked in, no seizures. I go in 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Talk to the mom who just had a baby, who had a terrible long labor that should have been a C-section hours before, but that's not my business. So I went in, told them that I'm not getting anything. I just saw the baby, and he needs to have some seizure activity, the baby's on antibiotics, blah 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 blah. The baby's on anti-seizure medicine. And his mom just kind of looking. So I leave. I go home. I get dressed for the day. Get my kids off to school. Go to my morning lounge and feeding the baby out the baby doing that. All of a sudden, babysitting transferred to the really elementary care because the parents have to transfer. Any problems with the baby? Get the last second in? You should know baby's gone. As I was doing my evening rounds in that hospital, I passed my buddy, who also shared calls with, who's the pediatrician. Said, have you heard about this case? He said, it's been transferred. I heard it got transferred down to Boston and blah, blah, blah. We have not heard from that. And so I said, you just need to know if you're going to do the charts, the nursing, my notes, the nursing notes. We haven't seen the last of it. We haven't seen the last of it. I got to, and the reason I was doing was failure to transfer. So the mother or the attorney or whatever said that because of this baby's meningitis condition, as soon as I saw the baby, I should have transferred to the tertiary care hospital. We do. It's that palpitations, like, oh my God. You know what's going to happen. It's terrible stuff. So, my nurse practice was there. Yes, okay. There's a fine group on the party and the party, blah, 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 blah. Just what's going to happen. So, the attorney said, don't worry about coming to my office, I'll come to your office. I came to my office and we talked to this wonderful first lawyer I actually liked. He was a great guy. And he said, we already have an expert. We're getting your records sent to the expert to the teaching hospital. Blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I see my attorney again. He said, your records have been reviewed. The neonatologist downtown said that he has no fault with anything he did. He did everything that was proper standard of care. He has no. He would have done the same thing if the baby was done. So he said the insurance company tells the attorney pretty much what to do. The insurance company says that I can leave it to you. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay in this or do you want me to make this decision? I said, the expert will testify that I did nothing wrong. He said, yes. He did nothing. He said, he had nothing. And so I said, I'm in. Let's just stay in. You sure? It's so much less painful if you just give them a number. And no. The obstetricians in the hospital got hit too, like $300,000. And then the attorney came back to me and he said, you're the only one who can let me. The moral to this story is, I ended up saying they could go away and he said, pick a number, and I said, $10,000 because that's probably not going to make it go away. How about that? So, if you look me up somewhere and wherever the thing is, if it happens to that case is on there. $20,000, I think. And the reason I was sued is not because I did something wrong. It's because she didn't know me. She didn't care anything about me. She saw me for a few sneaky moments after she had had a horrible night, having a baby, and she felt no pain about keeping me in there to the end because she got something out of me. I tried to go in and I tried to talk to her, but it was not the best situation. She had a horrible experience. She probably didn't even see me. I was probably saying, wah, 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 wah. So maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe I should have stayed long. Maybe I should have come early before I went to the, you second guess yourself all the time. But know that relationship is very important in terms of being food. And what happens to you, you're going to go,